First time seeing these players tonight. So Baja teacher is going Ottoman, and Wezy is going Ethiopia. So, kind of similar to a previous game we've seen tonight, right? Right? One that ended up being a double barracks janissary versus double war camp Gascanya. We'll see if this one goes a bit similarly or if it goes a bit differently. We'll find out. So, what is the Ottoman's plan going to be here? So the Ottoman is getting a trading post, getting the mosque, then it's going to get a house a bit later, so playing pretty normally there. Ethiopia again, they're going to probably play around their livestock market to obviously get a house, putting a granary in a good spot there. I will say you better be building your granaries as often as possible as the African civs, as it does make a difference. It helps you to corral your huntables easier, and it ensures that your villages actually gather pretty good around those granaries too. So get them as much as you can. Really gives you a huge advantage, and they don't cost anything. They're completely free. You don't have to pay any resources to build these. The only thing you lose resource-wise is the build time it takes for that build to basically start building them up pretty much, yeah. Alright, so now it looks like this explorer here is gonna go for this treasure. Which treasure is that? 60 food. Pretty reasonable. Definitely help out quite a bit. Oh, the Trinity card. Now, the Trinity card is a kind of an interesting one. So it's a infinite card that you can send again and again. And what it gives you 2 vills, and it gives you a Bun priest. So the 2 vills obviously are very useful for food, and then the Abun you can use to essentially build the monastery for you and to start collecting the gold from the monastery. So it's quite useful in that sense. Now, when he builds that monastery will depend on when he gets enough wood to do so. He'll either have to chop for it or he'll have to sell one of these cattle at the livestock market to afford it. Also, you get a free one with each age up too, by the way. That's another thing you can do. You can wait for yourself to age up and then you'll get a nice wagon to put one down on.
Hello.
Going with the Jesuits, I see. That's pretty reasonable. Jesuits obviously will give you access to conquistadores, which will be quite a good native unit to add into your armies, so that's always a good reliable alliance to do with the Ethiopians. Is getting the native embassy built up now using a villager, so that tells me he is going to go native warriors. He's going to go conquistadores. Since we are on Great Plains, we can also get some Comanche. And we can get some Cheyenne as well. So some really good cavalry natives on this map. So Cheyenne, Comanche, and then now Jesuit conquistadores for the Ethiopia player, which is quite good, you know. There's some other natives he can get later too, like the Sudanese dervishes. If he wants to have a bit of a skirmisher type native add in as well, but we'll see if he ends up getting there or not. We'll have to find out. Church is going up over there. That'll trickle him some XP, obviously. get him some. It actually gives you access to some of the European church upgrades as well, like the training ones and the other ones. Oh, he is going for a Facilities Castle, so this will give him a palace and then 300 influence. The palace is essentially a special fort type building that the African civs get, where they can train their artillery, mercenaries, and any special units they get through alliances. So it's kind of like a little bit of kind of like a little mini fort that trains all sorts of different special units. All your normal infantry cavalry is made at the war camp, whereas the palace makes all of your special stuff, basically your elite troops, I would call them, yeah. Looks like he is starting to queue up some conquistadores now. These guys are very strong. The thing that makes conquistadores very powerful in Definitive Edition is they actually get one splash, so they actually do some area of effect damage, which is quite substantial. Oh, and he's using his tower to make some Desert Raiders too. Oh, interesting. So the Desert Raiders are literally a raiding outlaw cavalry that does crush damage instead of hand damage. They're basically like the Huns Tarkans, the Tarkans that you have in Age of Empires 2, but instead of on a horse, they're on a camel. Yeah, so they do some great crush damage against units, ignoring most of their armors. And then the siege attack itself is pretty reasonable too in larger numbers. So yeah, you kind of have to watch out for those guys, pretty much, especially in larger numbers. So he's going Conquistador with Raiders. That's a combination I've actually never seen before, so I'm kind of curious how this ends up working out. And the way you afford it is basically you pay influence to train native warriors as the Africans, so you pay influence to get conks. And then you would just have to spend gold to make these Desert Raiders, since they are an outlaw. Oh, it does look like they do cost a bit of food, which I find interesting. Most outlaws don't cost food, but these guys do a little bit, so the macro is probably slightly different for them. He's out of Ville, which is really nice. I think he's trying to keep as much presence in his base as possible, because he knows what's coming now that the Ottomans have hit the Fortress Age. They can hit their power play button as far as Mamluks, Safahi, Falconet, all the big boy cards are coming out now. So we'll see if he can hold on for dear life or not. Putting an Ottoman town center out on the front right there I think is a pretty good strategy. Gives him some map control. Gets him a free queue of villas, by the way, since that's how Ottoman town centers work. So he doesn't even need food to get those extra economy. It's just going to be handed to him, basically. Oh, look at the delis. Look at all the casualties he's inflicted on the monastery there. That's pretty good. Pretty good for Ottomans. Completely was able to bypass the palace by attacking over here, which I think was pretty cheeky. Getting veteran on the Abbess. So he is going to go Cav Archer Abbess. Sticking to that light Cav skirmisher type comp that wins people so many games usually. I've noticed we've seen a ton of Ottomans tonight, so people really love the Ottoman civ quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, you rarely can go wrong with the Ottomans as long as you know what you're doing, I think. So that's totally understandable.
Hazır. Evet. Emrin.
Watch out, you really can't afford to siege right now. You got Abyss on your tail with Cav Archers. He also has bigger numbers somehow, so yeah, I would retreat from that as Ethiopia. Frankly, I don't even know what Ethiopia is going to do now, because you're dealing with veteran Abyss Gunner with veteran Cav Archer. This comp does not beat this one at all. It doesn't. It doesn't at all, because these outlaws, for what they're worth, will fall rather quickly in such small numbers against Cav Archers, and then the others just shred the punks. No problem at all. It's insane.
Emrin. Evet. Hazır. Emrin. Evet.
Oh, the Desert Archers. Now, the Desert Archers used to be very insane back in the day. They used to be like a brutal unit that did a ton of damage. Now they're sort of a bit more tame, but thing you gotta know about these guys is that they are basically the prelude to the concept of the Giselle Afghan infantry in Wars of Liberty. But before that, let's just check this battle out real quick and see how like. Oh, he's got a Sevastopol. Now that's going to be a nice advantage. But I'm still a little bit wary because of all the Cav Archers that we see here. I don't think this little batch of Desert Archers, at least not now, is going to be able to clean up that much stuff. Maybe in the old days when they did a ton more damage, they might have been able to, but yeah, no. Guess not. Yeah, look at him. Like, oh man, wow, look at that. Insane. Oh yeah, no, it is. Oh boy. But what I was gonna say is the Desert Archer. Do we have any of those on the field anymore, or are those all toast? They might all be toast at this point, but basically, kind of a side story, and this was a great game, by the way. Ottoman's doing a good job maintaining a unit comp that they know would be reliable. I think personally Ethiopia was going with their conquistador raider thing a little too long for comfort, and I think it was eventually getting really obsolete, and they just found themselves into a hole where they couldn't get out of it. But yeah, I digress. So finally, I'm going to tell you the story about the Desert Archer.